Hello everyone, and it is time to make some crazy bread. My daughter loves getting crazy bread from Little Caesars, and I thought, let's see about finding a recipe for this and make it at home. So I'm going to give you the whole recipe that I found on this website called copycat.com. That's copykat.com. But I'm going to make half of the recipe because I don't need all that many breadsticks or crazy bread, so I'm going to make half. So the first thing you're going to do is start with the warm water and your yeast. So it calls for half a cup of warm water, but I'm doing half, so I'm doing a quarter cup. And you're going to put that in a bowl with your yeast and let it start foaming. Does it not actually need sugar here? Okay, so it just says a teaspoon, well 2.5 teaspoons of instant yeast, but I am doing half. So I'm going to do 1.25 teaspoons of instant yeast. That's one. You're going to just let it kind of bubble up. Normally you put sugar, but you know, to activate the yeast, but we're going to see how this works. Maybe I'll just give that a little mix and leave that for a few minutes. And you know what, I'm going to add 1/8 teaspoon of sugar to this. I've recently used my yeast, and you're supposed to use instant yeast. I've recently used my instant yeast, and I did definitely get it bubbling up, but there was sugar in there. So let's hope that I'm going to leave it for a little bit. Okay, you can see my yeast is active, it's foaming, and now you're going to add your room temperature water to the bowl. And your oil. So this is olive oil, and now give it a little mix to combine it. Maybe I should have poured this into the cup because the cup will be easier to pour it into the food processor, which is the next step. Okay, so I'm using a food processor for this, and you're going to put your flour and your salt into the food processor, and pulse a few times just to combine that all. Next, you're going to pour your yeast, oil, water mixture. You know what, I think I actually want to just put this in the cup. Okay, so I've put my yeast, oil, and water mixture into the cup, and I'm going to pour it into the food processor. Food processor. Gosh, can I speak? I'm gonna start putting this on low as well. And I'm just gonna pour it through the main hole. And you want to start processing. My God. Until a dough ball forms. Okay, I'm losing my mind here, guys. Okay, so it says to put your dough, which should be sticky and elasticy, into a bowl that has been sprayed with non-stick spray. I've just put a little bit of olive oil in this bowl and rubbed it around just to make sure it's got that oily coating on there, and I'm going to get the dough into here in one moment. And it is definitely sticky and elasticy. It's sticking to my fingers, in fact. But I'm going to put it in this bowl, and it says to cover the bowl with saran wrap. And you're going to let this rise for a couple of hours. Cover the bowl with saran wrap and let it rest until it doubles in size. This could take 2 hours, so just wait, and we're going to see where this ends up. So I'm just going to wait and let this thing do its thing. Okay, so it has been 2 hours, and you can see my dough has definitely risen. It's definitely doubled in size. So what you're going to do now is take it out and put it on a flat surface, and basically pat it into a flat shape and roll it out. So I'm gonna I've cleaned my stovetop off. You can use a cutting board if you want, use anything you would like. I'm gonna spread a bit of flour out here, get this on that, and roll it out, and then cut it into sticks to make my dough. This particular recipe says to then roll it, but from what I know, I think Little Caesars kind of just keeps it all flat and it rises together as opposed to rolling them into sort of like these breadsticks, but you'll see what I mean. So I'm doing what it says, patting it out. I'm going to turn it over as well, so both sides get some flour on there. Now because it says to pat it out, it's not saying to flatten it with a rolling pin, and it is, you know, sort of a nice thickness. And I think I'm just going to take it like this. Oops. I'll put a little bit more flour on there. I think I'm going to just take it like this and cut this very specifically. It says cut it, and I think what I'm saying is I'm going to cut these pieces and get them into the oven just like this. Now, as I was putting my dough onto my baking tray, it kind of stretched, as dough does. So I'm just going to cut this and then put a bit on here. This is my Pampered Chef baking tray, which had split in half some years back. So I'm going to cut this, get some on here, and leave the rest on there. Now just cut. I'd say it's a solid maybe 1.5 inch pieces. Now remember, for me, this is half the recipe, so this is already a good amount. You're gonna just cut this and spread it out a little bit. Okay, I have the oven at 350, and it does say 375. I'm gonna put it at 350. And honestly, this was me using half the recipe, and I have quite a lot. So I did roll 2 of them because those were the pieces, the smaller pieces that were more oddly shaped. But I want to see how the other ones, you know, sort of this rectangular shape, I want to see how those come up. So I'm going to get this into the oven and get started. Bake about maybe 18 minutes. All right, guys, this is what they look like. So I have them stay probably 20 minutes because I lowered it to 350 as opposed to the 375, and they are nice and soft, not too burnt, not too browned, you know, so they're nice. And I'm going to put a little bit of my vegan butter. So what you're going to do is melt. For this amount, it should be about a tablespoon, or maybe a little bit more actually, vegan butter. And I have some in my blender because I made a fresh batch of vegan butter. I do have a brush as well, but I'm just going to use this. And you're going to just spread it over the bread. Now, I believe this recipe calls for adding either garlic salt or, garlic and salt. Or then I read someone said who worked there that they don't put any garlic in there. I'm gonna make a few with garlic, but I'm also just gonna I'm gonna just tap little bits of I've got some sea salt here. I'm just gonna tap a little bit on there. And all you're gonna do next, this is the Parmesan I like, and it's the Parmesan powder, and you're gonna just sprinkle some on your crazy bread. And there you go. You have got your vegan crazy bread inspired by Little Caesars. Okay, let me take a bite. It's hot. Ooh, super hot, but super delicious. Yum. I'm gonna try, well, I'll let you know. I'm gonna put some garlic on some of them. Maybe I'll mix the garlic with the remaining butter. That's probably what I'll do. I'll put some garlic and the remaining melted butter here and spread it on the other ones and see how I like it. And that is all for now, guys. I'll probably come back and let you know what I think of the garlic before I take off. So yeah, I'll do that. Okay guys, I do like it better with the garlic. So the ones that I sprinkled the little garlic on, I like better, but you know, to your taste. However, you want your melted butter, your parmesan, and a little bit of garlic and salt, and you're good to go. And that's all for now, guys. It is delicious. And that's a lot, isn't it, for half the recipe? My daughter and I definitely do not need more than this. All right, see you in the next video.